Sure, you good? Everybody in? It is 5:17. This is the beginning of the Codes, Fairgrounds, and Farmers Market Committee. It is Tuesday, September 4th, 2018. We are hosting this jointly with Convention, Tourism, and Public Entertainment Facilities. Council Lady Hurt, do you have a quorum?
I do have a quorum.
And we have a quorum as well. These are the exact same things on both. So the way we're going to play this is we will read the caption, we will have discussion, we will have a vote from the Codes Committee, then we'll have a vote from the Convention Committee. First up on tonight's docket, Resolution RS 2018-1328, Councilman Schulman and Sledge. An initial resolution determining to issue general obligation bonds of the Metro government in an aggregate principal amount not to exceed $50 million. Do I have a motion? And do I have a motion from Convention?
Is there a second? Second.
You should be on. Yeah, won't let me. Any questions? Hit your button and you'll be open in the queue. We need the sponsors, actually. In Public Works? It seems that Public Works is debating this exact same resolution as we speak. And we don't have a letter. Can I move this one to the heel, Counselor? We're going to move that to the heel. And Gilmore's not in here either. And Sledge, and actually we'll go to bills on third read. We'll move the first two to the heel. Bill BL 2018-1289, Sledge and Vercher. Council Lady Vercher, are you willing to carry this? Oh, Councilman Sledge is back in the room. With that said, let's go back up to the beginning again. Back on Resolution 2018-1328, which is basically determining to issue general obligation bonds of the Metro government in an aggregate principal amount not to exceed $50 million. I already have a first and a motion and a second. Councilman Sledge. Where are you? Okay. It won't let me do it. Councilman Sledge?
Perfect. Okay.
There you go.
And thank you, Chair. Apologies. So the bond resolution, basically it would issue $50 million in general obligation bonds to be split evenly between infrastructure pertaining to the stadium and infrastructure and new improvements to the fairgrounds. That, of course, would be added on to the $12 million that we put in within the, two CSP cycles ago, I guess you would say. And I would ask that you move approval.
Any discussion?
Any discussion from conventions?
All right. Let's have a vote. Raise your hands, please, on the Codes, Fair, and Farmers Market Committee. All in favor? 2, 3. All opposed? Raise your hands, please. Yep, 3-1. It passes 3-1. And on convention? You should be on. You should be on.
Okay, can you hear me? Hear me? Is there those in favor of this bill, this resolution for the Conventions, Tourism, and Public Entertainment Facilities? Please raise your hand. All opposed? Are you not voting, Councilman Davis? Can we have those hands again, please? Thank you. Yes.
Bill passes, what, 5-4-0 against? All right, next up, BL 2018-1289, Councilwoman Sledge and Councilwoman Vercher. Approves the demolition of certain buildings and structures necessary for the construction of a new Major League Soccer stadium at the Fairgrounds, Nashville, and amending Title V of the Metro Code to impose a privilege tax on the sale of tickets to events at the new Major League Soccer stadium. Do I have a motion? Second. And do we have a motion from Convention and Tourism? Councilman Sledge.
Thank you, Chair. So I'm going to ask that the committee, if they would mind moving the substitutes in your packet, and I can give an explanation if you like.
Do I have a motion to move the substitute? Any discussion on that?
I can explain the substitute if that's all right. So substitute is kind of a compromise between what was initially offered and then Councilor Gilmore's legislation, which regards ticket tax. So what I am proposing is that we have sort of an escalator to get us from the $175 that will start out with in the lease up to eventually $3. That is to address concerns, which I think are very valid, regarding long-term maintenance at the stadium. And what it also does, the reason it does this is because there is a agreement between the team and the league regarding the ticket tax, and this fits within that agreement as well. So trying to hit that Venn diagram, and I'd ask for the committee's support.
Questions from either committee?
Any questions from Conventions and Tourism?
And with that, let's have a vote on codes, fairs, and farmers market. All in favor, say, or raise your hands. Any opposed? Raise your hands. 4-1. 4-1. Motion passes.
All in favor from Conventions and Tourism, raise your hand, please. Any opposed? Thank you.
Motion, yeah. Yeah. All right, brings us to bills on third reading.
Actually, Chair, I think that was the substitute, and I've actually.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay, and I've actually got two amendments I want to offer on behalf of colleagues, if that's okay.
Please go right ahead.
Okay,
with
so
your
Amendment
amendments.
A in your packet is from Councilor Allen. The main intent here is to ensure that we are not tearing anything down in the demo that's currently being used or going to be used in the general operations. That is Council Lady Allen's amendment. I view it as a friendly amendment, and I would ask for the committee's support.
And on First Amendment, any discussion from either committee? Councilman Pridemore.
Thank you, Chair. I do want to just say, I guess for our listening audience, is that I think the majority of the members in here were in the Budget and Finance, where there was a lot of discussion about these resolutions and these bills. So I just don't want to give off the perception that we're not thoroughly interested or been investigating the contents of the bill. It's just a lot of them were debated out in the first in Budget and Finance. Thank you, Chair.
Great point, Councilman. Any other comments or questions? All right. This is on the vote for the amendment, correct? Yeah, Amendment A. Codes, Fairs, and Farmers Market. All in favor of Amendment A, raise your hands, please. 5. All opposed? Oh, there you go. This is for Amendment A on Bill 1293. Or 1289, excuse me. I'm sorry. No, we're on 1293. Councilman Sledge?
Okay, I also have, we are on 1289.
I was going to say, I thought we were.
Are we okay with Amendment A? Oh, convention, sorry.
Yeah, this is to vote for Amendment A on Bill 1289. No, that was for the substitute. Yeah, we've substituted 1289. This is the vote for Amendment A to the substitute of 1289. Everybody understand what we're voting on? And I remind the public that, yes, this was heavily discussed in Budget and Finance this afternoon for hours. So if the people wonder why we're voting on this pretty much without discussion, it's because we're all kind of, as Councilman Pridemore so beautifully said, we're debated out. So, Codes, Fairgrounds, Farmers Market, voting on Amendment A to the substitute of Bill 1289. All in favor? Six. And convention.
Convention and Tourism, all in favor? Please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All opposed? Councilman O'Connell, are you voting? Is that opposed or? Thank you.
It's like magic microphones up here. Okay, you have an Amendment B, do you not?
Well, actually, Councilman Freeman has an Amendment B, but I will offer it as well. These bills, or these amendments, excuse me, can be offered parallel in this committee or any committee, but I will have to request a suspension of the rules to marry the two on the floor. Amendment B basically explicitly says that no demolition that would disrupt the regular operation of the fairgrounds would occur prior to October 29th. That is explicitly, to my understanding, to make sure that people understand that the All-American 400 and the big October flea market would not be disrupted by this demolition. I would ask for your support.
Any questions or discussion from either committee on Amendment B to the substituted 1289? Mr. Davis.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just for a clarification for the folks in the audience and for back at home, just because this passes at our committee does not mean that it will pass on the floor. Is that correct, sir?
You are exactly correct. This is nothing but a recommendation.
Thank you, sir.
Anyone else? Anyone from Convention Tourism? All right. Codes Fair Farmers Market Committee, all in favor of Amendment B to the substituted 1289? All in favor, raise your hands. Any opposed? And the recommendation is to pass.
All in favor from Conventions, Tourism, Entertainment Facilities? Thank you very much.
Okay, so now we're on, pardon? Oh, any opposed on the Convention Tourism? Now we were on the bill as substituted with Amendment A and B.
And I would ask the committees to make motions for approval. And thank you, chairs.
Do I have a motion as amended and substituted? Any discussion? And do I have a motion from Convention and Tourism? Excellent. Thank you very much. Am I being legal here, Counselor? Good. No discussions, no questions. All right. As amended through Amendment A and B, as substituted, Bill 2018-1289, Codes Fair Farmers Market, all in favor, raise your hands. All opposed, raise your hands. Thank you very much.
Those members from Conventions, tourism and entertainment facilities on substituted bill with the proposed amendments A and B. All in favor, raise your hand, please. Any opposed? Thank you. 7-4.
All right. Now, I believe I skipped one here, 2018-1293. And Erica's not here, so we will move that to the heel. Now we are on Bill 2018-1291, as amended, Councilman Sledge, Council Lady Vercher, and Councilman Bedney. Declares property surplus and approves the execution and delivery of a ground lease between the Metro Board of Fair Commissioners and the Nashville Soccer Holdings Development, LLC, for the construction of a development at the Fairgrounds, Nashville. Do I have a motion? Councilman Sledge?
Thank you, Chairs. This has a late filed amendment that I will just briefly describe that I would ask for your support on. The late file amendment is solely to give the legal description of the area that was being leased. We actually had this added administratively last meeting, but there was some question about if we need to go further than that, and so out of abundance of caution, that is what this amendment is on your desk in the late file packet, and I would ask for your approval.
And just for legal sake, do I have a motion to move this forward from convention, tourism, and public entertainment? Okay. Any discussion? No one? Any discussion from convention, tourism? Like I said, I remind the public, we've debated this quite extensively today. Councilman Schulman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, so this was debated. Actually, there was some discussion, and I think Mr. Jameson had to read some of the legal description. It's just getting the legal. It's just the legal description of the properties. It's making sure it's right. Thank you.
Thank you. With no one else in the queue, Codes, Fairs, Farmers Market Committee, all in favor, as amended, Bill 1291. Oh, excuse me. We're on the late filed amendment, aren't we? Pardon me. We're voting on the late filed amendment to Bill 1291. All in favor? Any opposed? And
Same for conventions, tourism, and entertainment. All in favor, please raise your hand. Any opposed? No, thank you.
now we are on Bill 1291 as amended. Codes, Fairs, Farmers Market. All in favor, raise your hands. Any opposed? Nothing's no.
Conventions and tourism, all in favor, please raise your hand. Conventions and tourism, would you all please raise your hand? Councilman Davis. Scott, thank you. Any opposed? Thank you very much.
Okay, and we're still missing Erica. Councilman Cooper, would you step outside and grab Council Lady Gilmore? Oh, there are two bills on convention and tourism that aren't on code, so let me give this mic to you. We'll continue along that.
Thank you. We have resolution 2018-1380. Councilman Hall. No, he is sponsoring the bill, so I need him to. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion. Second.
Councilman Hall, please. I'm sorry, this is to request that the Metro Sports Authority, Nashville Soccer Holdings Development, and the mayor designate Metro Council District 1 as the location for any practice facility eventually constructed for use by the proposed Major League Soccer team players. Councilman Hall.
With it? Okay. Thank you, Council Lady. Any questions?
Yeah, just,
Okay, simply this is saying that I have an abundance of land in District 1 and that we would be inclined to entertain conversation about placing a practice facility for Nashville Soccer and MLS in District 1.
any discussion on that, Council?
I'm in support of any sports facility placed in District 1 because some of our North and South Nashville neighbors have been forgotten, and they also need sidewalks out there. God bless you. Thank you.
Council Lady Van Rees.
Yeah, is this I don't see the full language here, but is this basically asking for consideration? Or is it actually, because I'm sure that there's all kinds of places across Davidson County that would also like to be reviewed. I fully support anybody's effort to ask for a recommendation, for requesting the opportunity to submit the benefits of being in one district or the other, but I'm not quite sure how this resolution, how it would be binding or not binding, or how that would work.
It's actually, it is a non-binding resolution, but in terms of consideration for the district, that's simply to counteract some of the negatives that we've encountered in terms of economic opportunity. And so after going through repeatedly conversations and looking at most recently the Fair Housing Assessment, we're looking at placing some things in the district that would serve as an economic catalyst for that community. And so this gives us an opportunity to get some infrastructure and development in that district that we could build off of.
I think that's great, but I would think that Old Hickory would also be interested, and I would think that there's other places around town that would also. So I'm just wondering if we're going to have a whole bunch of resolutions about consideration. I'm confused by how this resolution is necessary for a very valid effort for consideration to take place.
Mr. Jameson, could you give us some clarification on this? Because it does say designate, which is a binding statement, a word, or is it not?
It's non-binding.
Can you explain, elaborate? Because how is it not binding?
So this is merely requesting, and requesting is kind of the magic word in resolutions, that this is not a binding matter. The council only acts to bind, either speaking through ordinance or when allowed by state law or contract to enact something by resolution. So a resolution of this nature is non-binding on the body, and it would simply have a suggestion or recommendation force, but not a binding effect.
I guess I don't understand. So why doesn't it read, this is just a recommendation, or what's the purpose of going through it if it's not going to be a commitment?
My guess, I don't want to speak for Councilman Hall, but when the day comes, should there be a need for a practice facility, and he has a resolution from this body that's passed by 21 members, that might be considered a strategically good place to be if you're vying to be the practice facility location.
Okay. Are there any other questions?
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Mrs. Chair. I definitely appreciate you. I just wanted to come and support my colleague here he does have an ample amount of land that's in this area. Why not Bordeaux? Now, I know the Hickory Hollow, or not necessarily Hickory Hollow, the other parts of the area that our councilwoman just spoke about, they have areas as well. but why not Bordeaux? Why not in our community? We deserve it. This is our time. We have been in continuous conversations with the ownership about that. I know I have. Why not? And this is the time, and I give all kudos and everything to the councilman for coming forward and also just taking it to another level. And I will do my part to make sure and to push to make sure that this happens. Thank you.
Any other discussions?
Councilman Sledge.
Thank you. I know I'm not on the committee, so thank you, Chair, for allowing me to speak. Councilman Hall's fighting for his district, and I appreciate that, and I'm supportive of this resolution for what it's worth on the floor.
Council Lady Verger.
Thank you, Chair. I also know I'm not on the committee, so thank you for recognizing me. Do we even know where the proposed practice facilities will be, or? Okay, so.
Yeah. In District 1?
Chair, in all seriousness, why I'm asking is because more often as it relates, as things have progressed with this deal, we find out information after the fact. So I'm asking the question, as a matter of record, has it already been determined where the practice facilities will be? To your knowledge, I don't know who can speak to that. Because if it has, although this is a non-binding resolution, it ultimately means nothing anyway, if it has already been predetermined. And I support the councilman's efforts for District 1.
Councilman Hall?
It has not yet been predetermined. We have multiple locations that are under consideration. Fortunately for us as a district, again, having the abundance of land, but also expediency in terms of access to downtown and interstate access gives us the affordability where we have multiple locations that we can choose from. But there are a few that have specifically been looked at or being considered.
Chair, let me clarify my question. This would be more for the administration or someone that can speak to as it relates to conversations with the team that many of us have not had privy to. Has it already been predetermined? Are they evaluating land availability countywide? We've had similar questions as it relates to determining the location of the MLS stadium, period, over in Councilman Sledge District. So what I'm asking is because if we can prevent from having another conversation as it relates to inconsistencies or inconsideration as it relates to fairness in determining where a facility should go, that's why I'm asking the question. And thank you, Councilman Hall, but you can't speak for what the team is going to actually decide to do. That's my question, Chair. Thank you so much.
And we appreciate that, and that's the reason why I deferred to our legal representative to speak to that. So based on the information that he provided, I believe that.
Mr. Wilshire can address that.
Okay, Mr. Wilshire.
Thank you. The team has not yet even really begun the consideration. Just to be on the record and very clear, the team viewed that would be putting the cart before the horse, and so they have not really even begun preliminary analysis of where that might need to go. They're focused first on gaining approval of the stadium, and then they'll turn their head to focusing on the practice facility.
No, Van Reese wants to speak. Do you want to speak, Council Lady?
I just, because I opened up this can of worms, I just wanted to say that I appreciate all this information, and it was information that I needed, and I absolutely support Mr. Hall's effort in this regard. Thank you.
Any other discussion? There being none, all in favor, please raise your hand.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Any opposed? Thank you very much. Yeah, I mean, Councilman Syracuse raised his hand. He's not on this committee. There's another bill, Bill 2018-1293, Council Lady Gilmore amends Title V of the Metro Code to impose a privilege tax on the sale of tickets to events at the new Major League Soccer Stadium. Is it? Yes. Okay. Okay, you want to take it over? Is there a motion from both the? Okay. Any discussion, Council Lady Gilmore?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So we have two bills on the floor. I had put my bill forth sometimes. I think Councilmember Sledge and I will make a decision by the final reading when it comes before the full committee tonight. And just to share, the only difference between it is his is graduated. So it graduates like 6 years, goes up a certain amount. It goes up, I think, about 50 cents or 25 cents each one, whereas mine just goes to the maximum of $3. We can do 10% by the state. We have the same idea in mind. We just need to come together and merge the bills, or I need either co-sign on his bill or he co-signs on mine and I'll amend it. But we'll get it worked out by when we have the full council. I don't know what happened, why we didn't talk to each other. But anyway, so we'll get it worked out, though. So I just ask the council members, just let us work it out. Don't try to pull any bills until tonight. So thank you.
Well, the bill that he sponsored passed. Did you want to move yours
I do
forward?
want to move mine forward. That's what I'm asking for,
Okay.
that no one stop or not support my bill now.
Okay.
I will take care of it by the time it hits the floor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? All in favor, please raise your hand for conventions and tourism.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 4.
Any opposed? Thank you very much.
None against.
Codes has the exact same bill. Is there any further discussion on codes? All in favor?
2, 3, 4.
Any opposed? Bill passes. And I believe that's it,
No,
correct?
she's got one more.
Oh, you got one more?
Councilman O'Connell.
There is a substitute bill, 2018-1295 by Councilman O'Connell. It amends the Metro Code Section 1308040B6F to add Symphony Place and the John Siegenthaler pedestrian street bridge to the designated rights of way, upon which street vendors shall not be permitted to operate within the DTC and CF districts, subject to the limitations of Chapter 1308. Is there a motion?
Yeah.
Councilman O'Connell. Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand.
1, 2,
Any opposed?
6, 6, 4, 0.
Councilman Davis, are you voting? Thank you. 7-4-0 against.
And with that said, Codes, Fairs, Farmers Market, and Convention, are you done? Yeah, we got that one. And Convention Tourism is now adjourned. Thank you.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information about this and other programs, visit nashville.org.